My name is Robert Christopher Wayne Weathers. I live at 3102 Center Hill Road, Acre, Mississippi, 38841. I am still under attack by Scientology. So let me explain what Scientology is. There are more than 3 dimensions. This is a fact. There are 12 dimensions in total. There's also this dark matter or dark energy attached to us that we can't see that also makes up part of your biology. The human genome produces a 12-dimensional humanoid with horns on our head. We have a head covering that has 2 horns. We are designed to live in outer space. We can fly in the afterlife. And we have a whole host of other abilities that we utilize in the afterlife to do various things. We are Anunnaki. That is the human bloodline, and that is the human afterlife experience. Our souls produce a horned alien that lives among the stars in the afterlife. So Scientology is the practice of utilizing this extra dimensional biology before they die. They remove it from themselves, and they use technology and techniques to turn them into upper dimensional vehicles, biologies in which they can drive through the upper dimensions, also known as aliens. And they look alien in appearance. They are remote controlled. So there are people on Earth driving aliens through our environment as I speak. That is what Scientology is. They sell access to the upper dimensions and to the dark side. The inverse of being harassed. They just said you killed a kid. False. And it's after the fact. He just got kids killed. He's saying that in a place where everyone can see him for all time. Time is simultaneous. It is not just linear, it's also simultaneous. In the afterlife, and Scientologists, they can go to a place in the universe where time is simultaneous, where the universe becomes a static object. Then they can turn around and interact with the universe in a manner in which time is simultaneous. That means they can time travel. The past, the present, and the future all happen at the same time. He's up there torturing people, raping people, murder, molestation, premeditated murder, death threats, harassment, in a place where the whole universe can see him for all time. We got this guy coming up here raping and murdering people, saying you kill kids. Meanwhile, ancient Egyptians are dumping children into pits of crocodiles because they can see this dumbass up here raping and murdering and causing torture and suffering, screaming he kills kids. Mayans did the same thing. We got school shootings one after another because this guy won't stop. They're crackheads. They are abusing substances. On top of that, this technology also gets them high. They have devices that interface to their brain and central nervous system. They run wires and electrodes and devices and sensors and things into their brain, their neurons, and their nerves, and they stimulate themselves. This stimulation causes the production of neurochemicals. It causes neurochemical metabolism. That means it produces neurochemicals. It elevates neurochemicals such as dopamine, norepinephrine, and serotonin. It also elevates hormones such as testosterone, growth hormone, and estrogen. It has an extremely narcotic-like effect upon the user. These people are high, bad high, and they don't stop. It's not just one time on a weekend, every once in a while thing, like normal drug users do, like normal people have fun. This is every day, 24/7, nonstop, 365. They don't sleep. They kept me up last night. They woke me up in the middle of the night, high as a kite, running their mouths 24/7, nonstop, wide open, trying to do some Rube Goldberg effect, where they cause an effect and something else, or where they cause something to happen and something else happens and something else happens, like the domino effect, the Rube Goldberg effect. He likes doing that. He does it over and over and over again. It's fun for him. The guy that runs Preservision and Humus, two Scientology companies that operate out of outer space, but they're Americans that run the place. So next, I guess I have to explain the entanglement property in our universe. So our third dimension, the shell, is entangled to our extra dimensions. That means if you remove a piece of extra dimensional biology, no matter where you take it in the universe, you are still in that body part. It's entangled to you. That means they can take a piece of biology, take it to a remote location, and attack that biology, torture it, subject it to a bad environment, and you have to experience it. They use this property for part of their technology. They have facilities on Earth and in outer space that house body parts. They take their brain tissue and other people's brain tissue to these facilities, and inside of these facilities, they have storage systems. They install this biology into a storage system, usually a brain piece. And inside of this storage system, they run wires and electrodes and devices and things into this brain tissue. And it allows the owner of this brain tissue to interface to this computer system. From there, they can communicate with each other and interact with each other in a digital landscape. It's like a video game inside of your brain. They give you a screen so you can see this digital landscape. And you can go there and fly and interact in this digital landscape, kind of like a lucid dream. It's all inside of your mind. Your brain, your mind lights up like a light bulb. You can actually see in there. They give you a screen and cameras and sensors and all this technology inside of your brain, which gives you internal sight into their digital landscape. Uh, it's also part of their phone service, so they can show each other. You can see aliens in this manner. They take eye nerves, brain pieces, social media. Facebook is doing this in mass. If you use Facebook, they steal body parts because it allows them to read your mind and invade your privacy. If they steal body parts and use technology on you, they can peer into your environment. They even have the technology to record sensory perception input. That means they can record your sight, your smell, your taste, your touch, your hearing. They can record this information and let other users sense it. So we can sense what each other's smelling and eating and seeing. And they use this information to try to sell you things. It controls the algorithms in which you see on Facebook, the internet. I'm sick, bad sick. They are very cult like. They do seances and things. They hurt people. They dress up in cloaks and torture people's body parts and push them out of space time. They call it sending it to hell because you can't get it back. And it burns. Falling through space time, it creates a friction burn and it burns you up. Especially if they torture you before they send you. They like to do things like fill you full of torture devices or parasites and then push you out of space time. So now you got to deal with that pain and trauma too. Scientology is a cult. They practice cult behavior, seances and torture and rape and murder and kidnapping and human trafficking, torture to death. It's a cult. So there are a group of Scientologists on Earth doing this to me. Barack Obama is one. Mark Zuckerberg is one. Bill Gates, Devin Singe, uh, several people in the military. There's like 20 or so people in the military that are doing this to me. They're involved. They tried to force me to assimilate almost 14 years ago. It'll be 14 years ago in July. I got forced to assimilate. One day I was at work and I started hearing voices, and people started communicating with me on social media, talking directly to me. People like Fast Company and people like that. They started using their platforms to talk directly to me, plus subliminal messaging. And then voices started coming out of my radio, and I started hearing sounds, weird sounds. I told them to get away from me. Leave. Get away from me. I do not consent. I work in a classified setting. I was making weapons for the military, the Department of Justice, and the public. Mostly less lethal tech, but I also did lethal munitions. I did grenade rounds, 40 millimeter grenade rounds. Uh, I also did deterrence flares for fighter jets. You know, the flares, when they got a missile coming to them, they shoot out flares out the back and it stops the missile. And I did machine gun parts, smoke, tear gas, flares, rubber bullets, foam bullets, sandbag bullets, illumination flares, mortar rounds. That's what I was doing when these people assimilated me. It's a classified setting. You can't invade my privacy when I'm making weapons for the military. Next thing I know, after I told them to leave, a whole bunch of them came down, the government included. They sit down on me and started harassing me and threatening my life and my liberty, saying I was going to jail. Someone saying I was going to die, they was going to kill me. Harassment. They finally turned the phone service off. But they made it one way. They could hear my thoughts and read my voices and things, or read my mind and see into my environment, but I couldn't do the same with them. They started stealing intellectual property. I am an author. I'm part Native American. I write literature, create ideas, come up with ideas. I wrote Crazy Bird Comics. I wrote the Environment Creation Agency. Wrote Divine Currency or Buffalo Dollars. I wrote Alien Bob, Bug Bob, Space Bob, and several others. And they started stealing it, my intellectual property. And as time went on, the more intellectual property I wrote, the more work and study I did, and the more I wrote, the more they got and became involved in my life. They started harassing me more. More and more people started showing up to my house in the upper dimensions. Then one day they turned the hive mind technology back on, and they gave me more gear, and I could see into my environment. I could see all these people that have been communicating with me in my environment on their alien forms. There are a lot of humanoids walking around, a lot of piece parts creatures. That's how you can tell it's Scientology. These aliens are not the best ones that they can produce. Look like a human or blue blood, and they can't fly anymore. They can barely do magic. Then they started stealing body parts. So watching me create and write literature became so lucrative to them that they wanted to do it themselves. So they have the technology to access neural tissue. They can cut your brain out, hook it up to their machines and read it or even access it and try to utilize it for themselves. However, we don't have, they use their own recall to do this, so it's them driving someone else's neurons. It's not the same. They can't write with it, they can't come up with stories with it. It's nothing special except a group, except a framework of conditioning that someone else did. An intelligent person did, me. It's just conditioning. So they cut my brain out, and now they're trying to use it for themselves to produce intellectual property. People are paying these Scientology companies just to watch me think. They want to do this after I'm dead. They have part of my brain, or well, my entire extra-dimensional brain tissue at their facilities. Some of it's being used as transplants. I'm being harassed. That's right, you stupid motherfucker. Ha, ha. That's what he's saying. But they're doing the same thing to my animals. Look at Sissy. They have her full of worms. She can't quit doing that. And her chest is so sore. When I go to rub it, she freaks out. They got torture devices all in her and parasites and worms and stuff. That's all she does. They won't turn it off. Every once in a while, they turn it off and we get some rest. And then just out of the blue, he comes up and turns it back on and he says, ha, ha, ha. She freaks out, gets up, starts running around, scratching herself. And then they'll start torturing me.